Hello, 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 everybody. Good to see you. It is Saturday, July 14th. It's great to see you, my friends. All right, we got Carrie, we got Christine, we have Cynthia, we have Carol, we have Sarah, we have Shelly. Very good to see you, my friends. All right. Okay.
Where'd Max go?
Okay. All right, everybody. Good to see you. Someone just come in. Okay. All right. Who just joined us? Callie. All right, everybody. Good to see you. Hello. Hello.
Hola. Hola.
Hola. Hola. All right, everybody. Who got a new window in their office? I did. It's beautiful. Just to let you know, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Congratulations.
My window in my, first of all, my office faces the sun all day long, and it's just, and being out here in the summer, it just becomes sweltering, and the window was all screwed up for many years, and so now it opens, it closes, it's nice, so it's really good. All right, so always grateful for things like that seem little, but they aren't so little. Right, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, by the end of the day, it's like, you know, it would be really hot in here and crazy. So it's mucho better. All right, my friends. I'm not exactly sure where we are, but we need to say a prayer before we get going. Okay, everybody? Okay. All right. Everyone's coming in. Okay. All right. So let's focus. Close our eyes. Take a big deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Source, Universe, all that is, we come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit, allowing ourselves to be more present, more connected, and more in tune with ourselves and our connection with God today. Asking that as we share today, that we allow ourselves to truly let go of any thoughts of separation, any thoughts of judgment, any thoughts of allowing ourselves to be in a different place than where we are naturally. Where we are naturally is in the flow of love, in the flow of peace, and in the flow of God. We sit for a moment in that flow. Together we take a big deep breath. And we say thank you very much. And so it
Very
is.
much.
Amen.
So it is.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so let us go around and do a little check-in with everybody. Then we're going to figure out what we're going to do today. But let's see, what's a good question? Think about this. This is your question for the day. What was something that surprised you this week? What was something that surprised you this week? Think about that for a second. Let's see what surprised. I'll go first. What surprised? Surprise is always an interesting thing, right? Because a lot of times it's a surprise, and then you're like, well, of course that happened, right? But what surprised me in the moment was that I really had really let go, was going through some stuff about control, was going through some stuff about organizing, about making my plan more important than God's plan. Say yes if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Amen.
So I was going through some of that stuff this last couple weeks and last couple days. I was really like, I gotta really, take my own advice and back the fuck up, right? So back the fuck up and allow, say, God, this is your plan. You show me. I'm not sure, but something got changed. I was in a kind of place of feeling a stasis, right? Kind of a stasis, which isn't always a bad thing, but like feeling like, and it's been for a few weeks actually. And so I really just was like, you just show me. I don't know. Just show me something, which is where I should have been before. Not should have been, but so I did that a couple of nights ago. And about an hour after I did that, I get a notification that Adyashanti had a YouTube on. And I was like, you know what? I'm hanging out. I'm going to watch that YouTube. Let's see what that's about. And immediately, as soon as I started watching it, I was like, oh my God, he is me, I am him. It was like he was saying all of my stuff like he was me. Like I've heard myself say that a million times. It was like such a weird reflection, a mirror going on there, which I just loved. And then he started talking about a lot of things, but he's starting a 3-month online retreat. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So it was like this surprise, and I was like, it wasn't 10 minutes into it that I was like, let me get on there. Here's my credit card. I'm doing the thing. So I'm excited about that because it was literally a surprise that came that was an answer to an undefined prayer. Do you know what I'm saying? It was an undefined prayer, but it was like, boom, there it is right there. So I'm excited about that. So that starts in August. So I'm going to be doing this 3-month online retreat with Adyashanti. So I'm excited about that. That was a surprise. Who has a surprise? Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Because I'm facilitating all of you doing your work constantly, and I got to do my work too. So and it's just been needing. I've been needing it, so it's really good. Okay. So that is me. Who's next of a surprise? And it could be as minor or as major as you want. Doesn't matter. Who's next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, I had a bit of a scare. I went for a mammogram last week, and I got a call Monday morning that I had to go back for more imaging because they saw something. And I opened up to some people and told them about it. And I didn't realize how much love there was for me and how many people really cared about me. It was like unbelievable how many people were encouraging and just supporting me. So it was really a nice surprise. And in the end, it ended up being nothing but a little cyst under the skin that if I want to get rid of it, I go to a dermatologist. So it was just really nice to know that I was so loved.
I love that. That's always a good one. And a reminder about, you are loved, right? Beautiful. I love that. I'm so glad for that it all worked out. Good. All right. So, Carrie, who's next?
I can go.
Go ahead, Jen.
I find it still surprises me how when you let go, how quick things happen. When I mean let go, truly let go and not expect anything. How quick the miracle can be. So that was a good surprise. Just for people who didn't know, so I have had an issue with this woman in my dance class, and what the story was, she was the reason why I never got why asking me to audition was canceled. And I was so mad at her for months that just the sight of her makes me so angry. And when I truly just let go and just forgave her, no judgment, no nothing, I just told her how I felt with expecting nothing in return or anything, and just let go and gave her a hug and truly forgave her. So that was like at noon. By 2-3 o'clock, management emailed me and says, you're just auditioning in 2 weeks. And I thought like, okay, that was interesting. But that was a good surprise. I wasn't expecting anything in return by doing it. I just thought, you know what, being angry, being frustrated, whatever, that negative emotion is just so exhausting that I kind of like let go without like, you know what, I really could not care less what she thinks. I'm done. And just gave up and let go. So
Really?
that's a really good surprise, how fast it was.
I love it. That's fantastic, Jen. That's the truth, everyone. You know, it's like real forgiveness. That's the difference between true forgiveness and then you going, well, I'll accept this, but that's not true forgiveness. So thank you, Jennifer. Good. Who's next with a surprise?
I can go.
Go ahead, Cynthia.
It's not earth-shattering or anything. It was my sister. It's my sister's birthday today. And this particular sister, she gets quite frenetic and disorganized. And when she's stressed, that happens even more. And so other than Christmas, since our parents transitioned, we live in the same city. I've seen her once because you make plans and, you know, she's just one of these people where it's always drama and something happens and she has to cancel. So I just came across the opportunity to go to the Vancouver Symphony here was playing the soundtrack while the movie was on, the fourth Star Wars, the first one that was put out. And that was when we had a lot of positive memories of. We went together, that sort of thing. So I spontaneously just asked her if she wanted to go, expecting that she would say no, because, you know, she said yes. And we got tickets, right, which was also a big surprise. So that was last week. But I had started giving up and just not booking expensive venues because she will just not show up. And so I was stressing about, well, what do I do if she's, you know, and then I just decided to skip it and to stop worrying and let go of that. And if she didn't show, even if I couldn't find a friend, I would go, and, you know, the cost of one ticket, that wasn't going to make or break me. So anyway, and she showed up. Huh? So the whole thing along the way has been one surprise after another. And I just gave up trying to organize, control, come up with backup plans, which is how I've traditionally dealt with her. And it was just a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to remember to do that more with her. Because, yeah, it was a lot more ease. There was a lot more ease. So that felt much better.
Ease. Very good. Good job. I love it, Cynthia. All right, next, who wants to share a surprise?
I'll go next.
Go ahead, Christine.
I found out how surprisingly easy it is to just step into the truth and live your truth and tell your truth and be honest with how you really are feeling, and instead of just holding back in fear of losing, like in fear of losing someone's friendship or love or care, in fear of affecting others, and how easy it was to just step into my truth and state my truth and live my truth and let go of the fear, and everything turned out good and everything turned out right.
Perfect.
And everything stayed with the love that was there instead of what I had feared would happen. And it's all turned out to be the most wonderful thing. But I was holding on for doing what I know I needed to do and living out of integrity. And it was amazing. As soon as I stepped into my integrity, manifestations started happening. I got a raise 3 times the amount that we normally get at work. Not just a raise, but 3 times the amount what we normally get. Exact amount I needed for the increase in rent that I had from moving forward with my life and moving out. Just wonderful things. And the love that was there that I thought I was going to lose is still there. So
Fantastic.
It's just in a different form.
I love it. I love it, Christine. Very good. Congratulations.
So just do the thing you know you need to do. Just do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Good for you. All right, who's next? Sorry, I didn't mean to rush. I'm aware of time.
I'll go ahead and go.
Go ahead, Callie. What's a surprise for you?
I don't know that I really have a surprise other than maybe one isn't perking, kind of some synchronicities perhaps starting to come together, and I have a feeling that it's resulted of did a lot of inner work, and it's just things seem to be kind of maybe lining up in a different way for me, and so I'm kind of going with the flow with it, but that would be my greatest surprise that comes to mind now.
Awesome. Thank you, Callie. Very good. Who's next?
Can I
can
go?
go.
Oops, go ahead.
Is that Alex I heard?
Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess I was trying to think of surprises. So I have a surprise that's actually been kind of going on over the last year. And it's kind of I'll just quickly tell you the story. So, I mean, Max knows is one of my big life issues is worrying about money. So about a year ago, I was doing a year and a half ago, I was doing these experiments with these kind of investments. And anyway, I started a new job, so I had to like change stuff around. I won't complicate it. So anyway, it's not a large amount of money. I just had some money in this biotech company. I have no idea what it does. Okay. So I just ignored it. I literally just ignored it. Anyway, I'm about to sell it for 11 times my money.
Wow.
It's gone up 11-fold. Yeah. And I didn't see the irony. I mean, I was looking at it yesterday. So I'm going to conclude it. And the reason, and what I thought was kind of funny about this is, so, God was kind of telling me, just let go. There is no problem. Just let go. And I didn't notice the name of it until the joke. I mean, so I realized God has a sense of humor. So the company is called BioLife Solutions. Life Solutions. I thought I'd just share that with the group because I think everyone can kind of relate to all these things that happen to us. So
God's always offering us life solutions, right? Beautiful. I love that, Alex. Thank you so much. I think Sarah was next.
Okay.
Hi.
It's nice and short and sweet. You can say hi now. Give him your thumbs up. He wanted to give you guys a thumbs up.
Yeah, buddy.
See all the people? Okay. So I'm always seeing people, oh, I found a feather, I don't know, feathers. I see people finding feathers all the time. And just like 2 days ago, I was thinking, it's really weird because I always have a ton of birds in my yard, and I've never once found a feather in my yard. This morning, I go and open up my curtains to the back door, just as this little gray feather is floating onto my back porch. So I was just like, okay, there's my feather. So I went and grabbed it, and I was just like, that's awesome. So that was my surprise.
Beautiful. And pardon the pun, but then you think, is it chicken or the egg? Is it because it come because I think about it, or is it coming because it's like, but either way, you attracted a feather. So
yeah.
I love it. Very good. Who hasn't gone yet? Anybody not gone yet? Shelley, did you want to? Shelley, or Carol?
I can go real fast. So this week the something is kind of like so I'm kind of a hoarder, but it's like at the beginning stages of the disease, like I wouldn't qualify for the show yet. But it's like I don't have any closets or any storage in my apartment. Like there's not even a closet for my clothes.
Oh my
so I have
God.
like bookshelves of my clothes and like the drawers, whatever. So I still have my brother's storage and some of his stuff that I kept, and my dad's stuff that I kept, and my grandma's stuff that I kept. And I have a storage for my dad, a storage for my brother, and a lot of my grandma's stuff is kind of condensed with my dad, and the rest of it is in my house, kind of lining my dining room. And so my daughter and her boyfriend decided that like that stuff has been sitting there too long while I was at work, and took this huge, like the giant yard black trash bags of clothes that they had picked up from like behind the couch and stuff, and said, well, that stuff has just been sitting there a long time anyways. And I'm like, that's the stuff that fell off the shelf where my clothes are, like as she's digging for a t-shirt on my shelf, like clothes will fall down on the floor. So they decided to clean, and anyway, scooped up a bunch of stuff that wasn't hers or his, and like thought, oh, well, we just want a clean dining room. So I'm like, I swear to God, we did.
You? She lives with you?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Go
So
ahead.
it's like she has a room with a closet for her stuff. And I'm just like,
Oh, she
okay,
does.
well, now that it's already good, because I came home and I saw it and I was like, this space is empty. And I was like, oh. And instantly I'm like pissed, right? Because it's my stuff. And so really it's like for 2 days, whatever, I'm just like, I have to get over it. It's like I choose love over this stuff, the love of my daughter over this stuff. I mean, really, it's stuff. I've got lots and lots of stuff. Sentimentally, it's just stuff. But it's my stuff, right? It's all that I have to show for 50 years, right? So I'm like, get over it. It's not as important as she is. It's just clothes. It's just stuff. And I was really having like what is this uncomfortable? Like I'm pissed. I feel like somebody, you know, broke into my car or whatever. It's just like somebody took something of mine without asking. You know, like I felt violated kind of, and I'm just like, it's clothes. You know, like there's like the angel and the devil. Like it's just this. No, it's that. It's not. You can just have those. Just have them because I'm talking. Bye, Rick. Okay. Sorry. and I was just like, oh my God. Anyway, so I was playing this thing, and then I'm just like, I have to forgive her. I have to forgive you. And then, but I'm still like there's nothing I could do, right? So I'm still carrying. She folded all these clothes. She did all this laundry. Oh, hold on.
Go ahead.
One.
I'm gonna. Sometimes you get very inspired to be like, I feel like there needs to be a movie. There needs to be a movie. Shelley is a movie. There's something about a movie. I love it. I love it. I love it. We will wait till they get their cigarettes. I'm gonna go into. I'm gonna listen. This is what we're gonna. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out where he works. Go up. Anyway, what?
Okay. So anyways, now I'll just close it out. So last night I'm like going, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't want to forget my book. Like I wrote it on my hand. I wrote it on the back of my arm, like don't forget my book. And
I swear, I want to find out. I'm just going to walk in there one day.
And scope it.
Because can't you just imagine there's a whole movie? In Shelley's life, there's a movie going on there. I think it's going to be amazing. Oh, my God.
Anyway. That's why I don't go on Periscope.
Fantastic.
So anyway, so I opened my book because I'm trying to jam it into this tiny purse, like at least that corner of it so I don't forget it. And I noticed that my purple pen was, because that's the one that I use for writing in my book now, it was stuck in the lessons. And so I was like, that's weird. So I looked at the lesson, and it was lesson 46 in the book. And it was, God is the love in which I forgive. and literally, you know, because like I'm kind of in that whatever word you said about like, well, should I just throw all this shit away and just start fresh? Is that corner really blocking my energy? You know, I mean, it goes on and on, but at the same time, there's this like my disease of whatever collecting. Anyway, so I read that 46 last night, and I literally like slept so good. You know, I didn't have like crazy dreams. They were just like nice, kind of random, weird dreams. And so God is the love in which I forgive, and that was like so frigging awesome. Because you forgive the other person, you know, it's like if you're not forgiving that person, then you're not in God's love, and you're off.
That's right.
Because God doesn't know about forgiveness because He doesn't have to forgive. No. He's not judging. He's not taking notes.
No. No, he's not taking notes like we are.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I love it. I love it.
And I'm not on 46, but all of a sudden my pen was in that spot.
Perfect. See, I love how one surprise leads to another surprise, and just beautiful. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Shelley.
And congratulations on your window. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Sorry, we're out of time. Carol, what is your surprise? If you can make it brief, that would be great because we're already at half an hour. But it's been great. It's been a great
My sister just texted me and said she's getting married next month. I'm like, that's quick. So, there's other, that's fine. We'll just go with that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Carol. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to get to the work. And just one caveat to that is that that happened when in Spirit School we were talking about rose quartz. While we're talking rose quartz about love and about all that stuff, she gets it. So that's a surprise. So while we're talking about love and talking about rose quartz, she got this this message that her sister is getting married. So how beautiful is that, right? All right. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, we finished that other section last week, right?
Yes.
Right.
We did.
Yes, good. So we were on the gifts of the kingdom. We finished that. I want us to move to another beautiful section today, which is chapter 16. We're moving forward. Chapter 16, and it's section number, let me just, yeah, I'm going to go with my intuition. Section number 2, the power of holiness. It's on page 332. Page 332.
I had my bookmark in there.
Your bookmark was in there?
Yes.
Another surprise from the universe. See how perfect that is. I love it. I love it.
I was like, holy moly.
And you know what's interesting is that this section, even, when we combine the classes and all that stuff, and we never got up to this point. We never did, but this is a really great point. So we're going to read the power of holiness. Okay, everyone?
Okay.
All good? I'm going to, and we may move into the next section, but I'm not sure yet.
Shit. Excuse me. Sorry.
Damn it! Okay.
I'm sorry.
So everybody, here's the order of reading. The order of reading goes like this: Max, Carrie, Jennifer, Cynthia, Christine, Hallie, Alex, Sarah, Shelley, Carol. You'll know when I call on you. All right, everyone. So, everyone on the page? Everybody on the page?
Yes.
Yes.
What is the page again? Wait.
332.
Okay.
It should be 332. In most books, it's 332. Okay? Find it?
Yeah.
All right, let's stop for a moment. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel all the love and joy and laughter from the share. Now we're going to move into the next segment of working on holiness. Let's open our eyes. Go. The power of holiness. I'm not going to read the first section to you, but I'm going to suggest that after today, you go back and read the beginning, Forgiveness of Illusions, the very first part, True Empathy, which is really beautiful too. But this is awesome. Highlighter. Wait, highlighter. Highlighter. There we go. There we go. The power of holiness. You may still think that holiness is impossible to understand because you cannot see how it can be extended to include everyone. And you have been told that it must include everyone to be holy. The dichotomy there. We believe, we're like, that's really great for everyone in my Course in Miracles Saturday class. But all those people that are assholes, I can't do it.
Yeah, like my God.
Seems to be a theme in the Course in Miracles, right? So it's told that you need to include everyone to be holy. Concern yourself not with the extension of holiness. That's a big line. For the nature of miracles, you do not understand. Nor do you do them. In their extension, far beyond the limits you perceive, that demonstrates you do not do them. Why should you worry about how a miracle extends to all the sonship when you do not understand the miracle itself? One attribute is no more difficult to understand than is the whole. If miracles are at all, their attributes would have to be miraculous, being part of them. And it starts off very simple, and then it goes into something a little bit more, complicated or in depth, right? Concern yourself not with the extension of holiness, for the nature of miracles you do not understand. So when he says, concern yourself not with the extension of holiness, means you don't have to really be like, oh, I have to do all this work to include all these people. I have to do this in order to be holy. That's what he's saying there. Does that make sense? Because you don't even really understand what it really means. Anyway, your ego doesn't understand. Your what?
Ego.
Your ego doesn't really understand, right? So you're like, oh, this Course keeps telling me I have to not judge everyone. I have to accept everyone. I have to love everyone. I have to, But he right in that one sentence, he says, concern yourself not with the extension of holiness, for the nature of miracles you do not understand. So you don't have to worry about that right now. You just don't have to worry about that. That's kind of a big relief, right, everybody?
Yep.
Because who here takes this work that we do as like, oh, you got to do the work. And I say that you have to do the work. You're responsible. You have to. He's like, you don't even understand what it really means anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a big relief. Right?
Yep.
And this comes back to trust. Right? Anyone want to say anything about that? Because that's a pretty big deal. One attribute is no more difficult to understand than is the whole. Remember the order of difficulty in miracles? So you don't have to understand why, how, whatever. That just makes things complicated. And that's the realm of the ego, right, everybody? That's the realm of the ego. So you don't have to understand all the shit. You don't need.
Well, that's what line 8
Yeah.
kind of says that too, right?
Right.
I mean, if the miracle's miraculous, then you're not going to get it, so don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Right?
Love it. Carrie, read line 8 for us.
If miracles are at all, their attributes would have to be miraculous, being part of them.
Right. And once again,
so
perfect. This is called the Course in
Miracles.
As most of you have heard me say, it's not a course in how do I figure it out.
No.
The ego came to me and the Course and everything because the ego goes, I got to figure this shit out. And then you come to the Course and it goes, no, you're not going to do that. No, you're not going to figure it out. Sorry. So you got to put that part aside. It's kind of like, when people start working with me, they come to me because they want to figure out their problem. And I go, stop trying to figure it out. That's your problem. Your problem is you're trying to figure it out. Your problem is you think you have a problem. I'm not going to be here to like facilitate you in trying to figure out your problem. Because if I facilitate you in figuring out your problem, I stay in the problem. We are miracle makers, right? We're not problem solvers. Problem solving is fine for what it needs to be in the world. 2 plus 2 needs an answer of 4. That's okay, but not to solve a problem like Maria. Sorry, I just had to say it. Was anyone else thinking that? Or just the gay man? Probably just. Oh boy, I have like funny bone syndrome today for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, all right. So let's. Anyone want to say anything about this? It's pretty clear, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's move on and read number 2. That is Carrie. Can you read number 2 for us?
Sure. There is a tendency to fragment and then to be concerned about the truth of just a little part of the whole. And this is but a way of avoiding or looking away from the whole to what you think you might be better able to understand. For this is but another way in which you would still try to keep understanding to yourself.
This next part is so good. I just want to say that.
A better and far more helpful way to think of miracles is this. You do not understand them, either in part or in whole. Yet they have been done through you. Therefore, your understanding cannot be necessary. Yet it is still impossible to accomplish what you do not understand. And so there must be something in you that does understand.
Take a deep breath. What's
Is something capitalized because that's the atonement?
Say that again. You cut out.
The last sentence where something is capitalized, is that because it's referring to the atonement with you, or your being with God, with love?
Right. It's kind of like a joke, Carrie. It's like, well, there's something inside you that gets it. I wonder what that is.
Okay.
Get it? You're totally right on the money, Carrie. There is something inside you that understands it that you don't understand. And that's okay. But what is the ego going to try to make you do, everybody?
Figure it out.
So
Figure it out.
Question.
Understand it. Like, okay.
Try to control it, basically.
Control it, make sense of it, understand it, figure it out, so you can use it as a strategy.
Yeah.
I heard something, speaking of Aja, I was listening to Aja yesterday, and it was interesting because he said such a great thing. He said, a strategy implies right away, it implies duality. So it implies already that there's something to get over. There's something to heal. In truth, there ain't nothing to heal. Right, everybody? So true. So what, there is something in you that understands all this stuff that you don't need to understand yet. At some point, when your consciousness is open up enough, there will be an epiphany, and you're going to be like, you will go from explanation to complete understanding. You'll be like, oh, I knew that. Now I know it. You know that feeling, everybody?
Yeah.
For sure. You don't have to understand a miracle, but there will be a point where something happens. Where you go, oh. And it's not anything you could put into your mind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. Something goes. Remember, this is the power of holiness, right, everybody? We're talking about the power of holiness, which is huge. Okay. I love that. You know what? I have sentence 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 like highlighted and circled in 3 colors. So, okay, let's keep reading. Number 3 is Jennifer. Can you read?
Yes. To you, the miracle cannot seem natural because what you have done to hurt your mind has made it so unnatural that it does not remember what is natural to it.
Yeah, do you get it? Remember I talk about how your brain is trained, it's trained. It's not, it doesn't get it. It doesn't, your brain, our brain, my brain does not get how miracles work and how God thinks, and your will is one with God. It doesn't get it yet, but it starts to. Go ahead.
And when you are told what is natural, you cannot understand it. The recognition of the part as whole and of the whole in every part is perfectly natural, for it is the way God thinks, and what is natural to him is natural to you. Holy natural perception would show you instantly that order of difficulty in miracles is quite impossible, for it involves a contradiction of what miracles mean. And you could understand their meaning, their attributes.
And if you
could understand their meaning, their attributes could hardly cause you perplexity.
Yeah. Didn't I just talk about the order of difficulty in miracles? Yeah.
Is that related to the mind trying to sort out what makes sense and not make sense?
Yes, totally. That's right. And that's what the mind's job is, right? It's very interesting you point that out, Callie, because it's interesting in this work is to be like, okay, the mind has a job. And remember, in the Course in Miracles, he talks about the mind is our greatest tool. The mind is our greatest what?
Tool.
Tool. Just like time is a tool, just like body is a tool, it's just a tool. But what happens is that we believe we are the mind instead of the consciousness behind the mind. We're the consciousness behind the mind. We are not the mind itself, right? And so the mind is the tool. It's the car analogy, right? It's like you're a Volkswagen. You're a Porsche. But your Porsche or your Volkswagen will get you to Texas if you use it the right way. Or it can sit in your garage and just wither away, right? Now and also you can use the mind very practically, but you can also use the mind. Think about the car analogy. You can also use the mind to go on a spending spree and murder people. You could use it for what is the purpose you're using it for. So on its own, it does have qualities. It's to get you from A to B. That's your mind too. Your mind is meant to help you to organize thoughts, and that's okay. But the problem is we try to use the mind and impose that onto consciousness and spirit, and that's where it doesn't work. Am I getting too deep, or you get it?
I want to say something.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly. Before a priest or someone could become a pope, the Vatican has to prove that they have done 3 miracles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, a saint.
To make them a saint. Now, is it possible for me growing up hearing that for it to be a miracle, like only selected few is allowed to create miracles?
Of course.
Because if you create 3 miracles, then we'll all be saints. It's like,
well, we already are.
That came to my head when I was reading this.
Right. That's beautiful.
Our brain is trained that way.
And see how the ego world, the insanity of the world, wants to separate. These people did this thing, so they're better. These people, you got to follow them because you're just not worthy, and you just got to keep putting your money in the fucking till and going to the thing. But Francis of Assisi, he's a saint because he did this, whatever. Jesus would not agree with that. Jesus would be like, oh, no, that's not true. And also the definition of a miracle is totally different in an organized religion compared to this. Beautiful. I love that. All right, let's keep reading. We're on 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Cynthia, can you read number 4 for us, please?
Okay. You have done miracles, but it is quite apparent that you have not done them alone. You have succeeded whenever you have reached another mind and joined with it. When two minds join as one and share one idea equally, the first link in the awareness of the sonship as one has been made.
Highlight that.
When you have made this joining as the Holy Spirit bids you and have offered it to him to use as he sees fit, his natural perception of your gift enables him to understand it and you to use his understanding on your behalf. It is impossible to convince you of the reality of what has clearly been accomplished through your willingness, while you believe that you must understand it or else it is not real.
That last line is huge. Cynthia, read that line, number 5 again.
It is impossible to convince you of the reality of what has clearly been accomplished through your willingness, while you believe that you must understand it or else it is not real.
Okay, what does that mean? I want to hear what your interpretation of that, because that's a really big line. Cynthia, do you have anything of what that means? How are you going to explain it to me?
Like, would it that we need proof to make it we need to see a proof to make it real, basically.
Mm-hmm. Very good, Jennifer. We need proof, right? And then remember that everything's the meaning you give it. So the word proof itself has a whole meaning from the ego, but it also has a whole meaning from the spirit, right? Cynthia, were you going to say something about it?
I was going to say,
No, go ahead, Kelly.
I was going to say that giving the meaning to it.
Yeah, giving the meaning to it. You're giving the meaning to it, for sure. Mm-hmm. What about this word, everybody? Let me just write it down because I think this is really important in this section. You know, I can't just say it. I have to make it dramatic. I got to write it down. Hold on. What about this word? You've heard me say it 1,000,000 times. What about this word? What's this word? Everyone say it together.
Doubt.
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 What's the importance of doubt in the section that we just read?
Makes us question everything.
Yeah. And even if there is a miracle, you go, oh, well, I got to figure out how that happened. Right? An operative word in that sentence is, it is impossible to conceive you of the convince you of the reality of what has clearly been accomplished through your what? Your
Willingness.
The willingness is a big part. While you believe that you must understand it because you're trying to convince the doubtful part of you.
Right.
And there's only one doubtful part of you. It starts with an E and ends with an I.
Ego.
The egoic mind is full of this. Prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it, prove it.
I can see where there can be confusion that's making that happen too.
What do you mean, Callie? Go ahead.
Misinterpreting.
Misinterpreting the miracle?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good example of it. The difference between when people say, I don't believe in coincidence, and then other people going, well, of course that happened because this and this and this, and they can go back and they can explain it. Does that make sense?
Or you just got lucky.
Yeah, lucky.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, and that lucky thing. It's like, well, you just got lucky. Well, it's just a coincidence that that happened. It's a coincidence that perfect person called at that exact time to give you the perfect opportunity to change your life forever. That's just a coincidence. But if you understand this, you're like, I don't know, there's something a lot more than a coincidence going on.
A lot of possibilities.
If you believe more in doubt, then you think that that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
If you're more in line with the ultimate possibility that anything is possible, it's a miracle.
Can you imagine a bird sitting in the nest before it flies saying, oh, I've got to prove that if I flap my wings in a certain way and jump out of this nest that, somehow my wings are going to work and hold me up and blah, blah, blah. And I have to have it all scientifically figured out and written out in a book.
So perfect. That's a perfect example, Christine. And what do we do all the time?
Find proof.
Plan, we got to strategize, we got to figure it out, and then we'll jump off the cliff.
And even us that study all this stuff so much, and we study it and study it and study it, but we don't just jump off the cliff and do it, even though we see it happening for other people.
Right.
In our minds, we're like, oh, it's only for them. It's no, only for them, not for us.
That comes back to what I've been writing about lately a lot, about the self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
This is the core, the kernel of self-sabotage. Because it's like, it's going to keep trying to explain it and organizing and making excuses for it, whatever. Because it's all based on
doubt.
Now, let me say this really clearly. There is a place in our lives, for rational thinking on that level. There is a place for that, for sure. It's like, if you don't get on the treadmill, your body's going to wither and die. You know that if you don't drink enough water, you're going to die. You know that you know what I'm saying? That's rational thought, right? And that's okay. And not that science is fantastic. It's just how we are interpreting and using it in our life. Takes us completely away from the holiness of the divine order. We want to understand the order. Far beyond understanding. Okay. Let's keep reading. Who read that? Cynthia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Christine, can you read? We're on 5, right? Yeah. Christine?
Yes. How can faith and reality be yours while you are bent on making it unreal? And are you really safer in maintaining the reality of illusions than you would be in joyously accepting truth for what it is and giving thanks for it?
Yeah.
Honor the truth that has been given you and be glad you do not understand it.
So everyone needs to highlight that. That's a tattooer across the forehead. Because doesn't that make you go, oh shit, I freaking need to do it and I don't understand it? Read it again, Christine, because it's so good.
Honor the truth that has been given you and be glad you do not understand it.
Because if you try to understand it, you're going to be right back into egoic mind. Go ahead.
Miracles are natural to the one who speaks for God, for his task is to translate the miracle into the knowledge which it represents and which is hidden to you. Let his understanding of the miracle be enough for you, and do not turn away from all the witnesses that he has given you to his reality.
Read number 6 again, the last line.
Let his understanding of the miracle be enough for you, and do not turn away from all the witnesses that he has given you to his reality.
What's that saying, everybody? Who can put it in your own words?
Well, to me, it's just the very fact that we're even alive and breathing is a miracle enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the fact that we're even alive every day is a miracle.
So what's he saying in this section, in that line?
Trust and just know that you're held at all times.
Very good. Don't sit there and try to understand it and figure it out and strategize it and organize it and make another fucking tool.
I'm looking at this sentence differently.
Go ahead, John.
For me, it's like, let his understanding, for me, it's what it's telling me, let his love. What I'm getting from this is just, instead of understanding, letting his love, or what I know of his love, would be enough, because that's what he's been giving me all this time.
Of course. No, I think that's totally correct.
That's what I'm getting on this.
Let his love be enough for you.
Did you say, why is his love enough for him?
No. And the line says, let his understanding of the miracle be enough for you. His understanding of the miracle.
Yeah.
Not your understanding of the miracle, but his understanding of the miracle. Right? So I agree with you completely. You don't need to understand the miracle.
Yeah.
Right? I agree. And his love for you, remember, your will and God's are one. I want to really, really, really stress this here, everyone. There ain't no God out there going, okay, well, she gets it now, so finally I can fucking give her my props. It's not that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about my will and God's are one. There is no separation between God and myself. I'm not trying to find the love from a God or be accepted from a God. You see why I said that, everybody?
Yes.
Because I mean, we are not God, but we are created from God, but our will and God's are one. There's no separation between us. But when we're looking for, allow that consciousness, that level of consciousness to understand what we don't understand, it's okay. We don't need to understand it because we're still part of the whole thing. It's a much different orientation to your life. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to okay, well, I get it now. So do I get an A in the class? Do I get to move up the evolutionary scale now? Do I get to enlighten now because I understand it?
Get crowned.
Most people that are on a spiritual path are trying to do. And that's completely the opposite. Does it make sense?
I get the big E on my forehead.
Yeah, exactly. You get an A+ and you get to move on to the next cloud. Go.
Give you a crown.
Right. Totally. So his understanding that the consciousness that we need to work on because we're in body and this perception right now, that consciousness gets it all, and we're part of that consciousness, so just allow it to be. It is what it is. Allow it to happen. Really a big difference in how you walk through the world. Big difference. Because you're not a problem to be solved. Beautiful.
Well, I like that. Joylessly accepting truth and giving thanks.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really love that.
I love that too. Christine, talk to me about that. What does that do for you?
It just makes it easy, you know, like that's just something you want to do every day when you wake up. Just be in joy and give thanks for whatever, no matter what it is that's in your life, you know?
And that line is so beautiful. Read actually number 2 and number 3 all together.
And are you really safer in maintaining the reality of illusions than you would be in joylessly accepting truth for what it is and giving thanks for it? Honor the truth that has been given you and be glad you do not understand it. So you don't even have to figure out what it is that's happening in your day or what's going on. Just try to be present.
Get up and
Okay, Kelly.
Yeah, and just give thanks for it.
Because what does the mind do? What does the ego want to do? The egoic mind wants to do. As soon as you have a miracle, or like, you know, let's just take what Jennifer went through with her friend that she shared with us. With her friend, where she forgave, and then she got the audition appointment, and then, you know, things happened really quickly. And then the egoic mind goes, well, why did that happen? And what should I do? And maybe I should do that again, and maybe I should repeat that. What was the strategy I did to make that happen? And I should repeat that. And then you're right back in.
and why did that?
That's so trippy because I just realized I was having dreams about magic shows. And that's like if you go to a magic show and someone does a really amazing card trick and you're just like, wow, in awe of the trick. But then your mind's automatically, well, oh, how did it happen? How did he do it? Trying to figure it all out. It takes away from the joy of just like the, wow, that was a really cool trick.
Right.
You know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is it possible when, like, with what happened to me, like if one experiences a miracle and then you would say, wait, that happened, let's analyze this. Maybe if I repeat that what I did, it would have the same effect, then it kind of like ruins it. And then when it doesn't happen, then you say, see, that's just, you know, it's just a fluke that happened. Because then you start analyzing, you know, what I did with my friend, for example. If you analyze it too much and you think that would work for everyone, then you would prove yourself wrong, and then you question everything that happened.
Right, exactly, because as soon as you start to fall into, now this is not to say that there aren't practices that help you to be in the place where you're more resonant with God, and there are practices that do that, for sure. But the egos want to be like, okay, now I understand it, now I get it. And once you say I get it, you immediately constrict. And the ego wants you to constrict because the egoic mind only wants organization, 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 organization. It does not understand the language of spirit. So you're right. So you have to be willing to be like, oh, there are some things that I did that get me here, which is fantastic, and that's okay. But I don't need to analyze the shit out of it. I just need to go for the experience of what happened and be in the moment of that experience and know, aha, this is a different experience of living my life by only being like, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do that, gotta do that. Totally different. Question, Jem. Good question. Okay, we're on 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Christine, you just read, right?
Yes.
Okay. Callie, are you back?
Yes.
Okay. Can you read number 6 for us, please?
Yes. No evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want.
Fake news, fake news, fake news.
Oh, thank you.
You get that?
No evidence. Yeah, now that you said that.
Read that again.
No evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want.
That is the power of those two words. Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing will ever convince someone of what they do not believe. They'll say it's fake news. You will dig up their dead grandmother and see the dress they were in with the Bible in their hand, and if they do not trust you or believe you, they'll be like, that's a dummy, that's not my grandmother. Because you cannot convince them of that. You don't want it.
Interesting.
That's why, let's just make it really topical. That's why no matter what happens with the Mueller probe or whatever, if you're for, against, whatever, no matter what happens with that, there is going to be a segment of society that's always going to be like, of course, I totally get it. And there's going to be a segment of society that goes, oh, it's all fake, they're all behind it. See how this work is the life you're living in the world you're living right now?
Wow.
Okay. Read that and keep going there, Kelly. I just wanted to point that out because it's very topical right now.
No evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want.
Right.
Yet your relationship with him is real. Regard this not with fear, but with rejoicing. The one you called upon is with you. Bid him welcome and honor the witnesses who bring you the glad tidings. He has come. It is true, just as you fear, that to acknowledge him is to deny all that you think you know. But what you think you know was never true. Religions, they just kind of went through my mind, like, yep. What gain is there to you in clinging to it and denying the evidence for truth? For you have come too near to truth to renounce it now, and you will yield to its compelling attraction. You can delay this now, but only a little while. The host of God has called to you, and you heard. Never again will you be wholly willing not to listen. It's like speaking, basically kind of clearing all the stuff taken on from eons with religions, a lot of the dogmatic religions, traditional religions.
Right? That's one form of it. But there's also the form of what you believe about your mother.
Okay.
There's also the form of what you believe about Mexicans.
Really
There's also the form of what you believe about your potentiality. Everybody? You're like, well, that's fake news because Mexicans never, ever, ever get successful. That's fake news because everyone in my family was poor as dirt. See how it relates to the fake news thing?
My aunt.
But beyond the fake news so it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter what side you're on. There could be 12 sides, there could be 2 sides or whatever. The side, the whole idea that there's a side is the problem. Right? So there's always this kind of like, but what he's saying in here, what's so beautiful, is beyond all of that, there's the truth, the holiness of the truth that runs through everything all the time. I'm kind of making it up, but that's kind of what he's referring to. Does that make sense, everybody? It doesn't matter if you are, a social liberal, if you are a Nazi, it doesn't matter. Because there's a truth that runs through all of it. Doesn't matter. All that's a form of separation, and separation is not of God. So true. So, Callie, you're reading, right? Read number 11 and 12.
Okay. The host of God has called to you, and you have heard. Never again will you be wholly willing not to listen. What does wholly willing mean in that?
What does that mean? Does anyone want to say it?
Completely.
With this in mind, with the God connection, spirit connection?
You'll be completely willing to listen.
Oh, okay.
Completely. It's not going to be like, oh, well, kind of like take that little idea, a little there. No, you're like, now I'm in. I'm totally willing to come. It's like there's no doubt anymore. I get it. You're wholly willing to listen.
Totally. Just a different way of saying it.
Right. It's, the host of God is called on you, and you have heard. That is said in so many different ways in the Course and in the Bible and in most teachings. Is that it says all are called, few choose to listen. Have you ever heard that, everybody?
Yeah.
That means that there is a ping within every one of us. That's the ping of the GPS of God. Like a satellite that goes ping, ping, ping. And that is truth. That is love. That is, you do know when you are separating. You do know when you're judging. You do know when you are whatever it happens to be. There is something within every single one of us that is being always like, boom, you remember who you really are. Boom. Are you going to judge that person? Boom. Are you going to whatever happens to be? And that little ping that's being sent out like a radar from God is always going on. And that's what he means. We're all being called, but then there are some of us in this room right here that go, I hear it. I hear it. I get it. And then once you get it, that once you hear it, that's when your journey starts. Once you really hear it, that's when the journey starts. Because then as you do the journey, it goes, you better stop judging people. You better just stop judging people that don't hear the ping. Or they don't think they hear the ping. Deep breath, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we'll just play ping pong.
Ping pong. Ping pong. Ping pong. I'm aware of time. We're going to read, let me see, hold on. 7. Let's see how far we get.
Ping wrong, actually. It's ping wrong.
Ping wrong. That's right. Ping wrong. There you go. Okay. All right. Callie went. Alex, are you there?
Sure.
Okay, Alex, can you read number 7? Now it's all going to start shifting and changing, everybody. Go ahead, Alex.
This is a year of joy in which your listening will increase and peace will grow with its increase.
Amen!
I love that.
The power of holiness and the weakness of attack are both being brought into your awareness. And this has been accomplished in a mind firmly convinced that holiness is weakness and attack is power. Should not this be a sufficient miracle to teach you that your teacher is not of you? But remember also that whenever you listened to his interpretation, the results have brought you joy. Would you prefer the results of your interpretation, considering honestly what they have been? God wills you better. Could you not look with greater charity on whom God loves with perfect love?
7 and 8 again.
God wills you better. Could you not look with greater charity on whom God loves with perfect love?
Anyone want to say anything about that?
That's kind of like what you've been saying all week on your scopes about do something today nice for somebody that you disagree with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
every
mine
time
too.
you say, I'm like, it's,
Of course it did.
it's so not easy to do.
Your ego sure don't want to do that.
No.
I mean, he's basically laying it out in one sentence what to do, which is basically, if you want to witness the kingdom of heaven, love unconditionally.
That's right. So funny, in spirit school we're talking about rose quartz, and rose quartz is the unconditional love crystal. I was saying that the Course of Miracles, rose quartz is the Course of Miracles crystal. That's what you got to do. Could you not look with greater charity on whom God loves with perfect love? Hate to tell you, but God loved Hitler. All right, but God loved Hitler. No! God loved Mengele. God loved a lot of people that we have judged. And and that's where you go to the depths of real enlightenment, of opening your consciousness up in ways that you've never thought. We'll finish this. We have 2 more. Anyone want to say anything before we move on?
Hey, Max.
Yeah, Alex.
Just along those lines, I had this thought this week, which is that the reason why it's so easy for many of us not to like Trump is that he reminds us of ourselves at our worst times.
Yeah.
The boastful, arrogant, I got it all going, I'm like, what?
And also the insecurity behind it, that we relate to we relate to this needy kind of, I need this, approval person.
You bring out doubts too.
So true. I mean, we create everything, right? We have created everything, right? So I agree with you completely. No argument on my part, for sure. I mean, also the whole thing about, oh, well, he sleeps with strippers and he's manipulative and he tries to get people to love him all the time. Hello? What are we doing? Trying to get people to love us all the time. Trying to say, I'm okay, everything's fine, I'm good, look, I'm a fucking genius. He just freaking said it 2 years ago. 2 days ago. I'm a stable genius. What are you trying to convince to people in the world? I'm a genius, I'm okay, everything's fine, no problem, I could do that, everything's fine. That's what we do. Take a deep breath. We just have better hair.
He's like our ego on TV.
Okay. And until more of us start to get what we're talking about right now, if it's not Trump, we're gonna create a baby Trump.
Oh, that's scary. Yeah.
If we don't start to say, "Oh my God, I don't need to defend against the world. What is one of the main reasons why he's there? The wall. And if that doesn't give you some pause to be like, oh shit, because the wall doesn't mean a wall between the United States and Mexico. It means our walls with others, our walls with, okay, I can keep them away and them close. They get to be in my compound and they have to go outside. Think about, honestly, everybody, think about in your life how you're like that. Myself included, I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else.
Separation.
Separation. Right? And that's one of the biggest themes in the Course of what Jesus is trying to teach us. It's like anytime there's any kind of separation, you're fucked. He doesn't say you're fucked, but you're screwed. Because then you know the ego is running the show, and then you know the atonement is further and further away from you. It's important to take all the stuff that we're learning and apply it to what's happening in your life. That's where it plays out. It plays out in your life, it plays out in the news, it plays out in Periscope, it plays out. People completely left Periscope because they're like, oh, it's so horrible and everybody's so awful and they're all judging each other. Da, da. I'm like, well, I didn't see that. But that's interesting. It's interesting that I didn't see that, and that's not happened to me. But all these people left that. I wonder why. It did happen to me on Instagram, but that's okay. All right, let's keep reading. I want to finish this. Good. Alex was last. Sarah, are you still here?
Yep.
Okay. Sarah, can you read? We're on 8, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Go ahead.
Do not interpret against God's love, for you have many witnesses that speak of it so clearly that only the blind and deaf could fail to see and hear them.
That is so funny. You got to be blind and deaf not to hear God. Something's wrong with you. Keep going.
This year, determine not to deny what has been given you by God. Awake and share it, for that is the only reason He has called to you. His voice has spoken clearly, and yet you have so little faith in what you heard, because you have preferred to place still greater faith in the disaster you have made.
Oh, that is so true. You have more faith in your disaster than the miracles of God. Keep going, Sarah.
Through evidence of conditioning in our society.
Well, yeah, but what society is insane, right? It's insane, and so is the ego. So the ego's like, "Ooh, magnet. That's insane. So I'm going to be insane just like it." Magnet. Go ahead, Sarah.
Today, let us resolve together to accept the joyful tidings that disaster is not real and that reality is not disaster. Reality is safe and sure and wholly kind to everyone and everything. There is no greater love than to accept this and be glad. For love asks only that you be happy and will give you everything that makes for happiness.
Mommy. Is somebody? Sorry. Oh, did we lose Sarah? Sorry. That was so perfect.
Had to give me a kiss.
Are you there, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay. Read number 7 and 8 because it's like the best.
Okay. There is no greater love than to accept this and be glad. For love asks only that you be happy and will give you everything that makes for happiness.
Be happy anyway. Love anyway. See how powerful that is? Because the answer that comes is always so simple. Do you get that, everybody? It's so simple. Just be happy. It's like the frickin' song. Don't worry. What? Be happy.
Be happy.
That's what he's saying right there. I swear, I wish I had that song queued up. I'd be like, don't worry, be happy. Because what part of you doesn't want to be happy?
Ego.
It wants to understand, which will guides itself as trying to be happy. It wants to figure out, which will guide itself into, oh, if you just figure it out, you'll be happy. That's the opposite. Just be happy anyway. Just love anyway. Okay, I'm aware of time. Okay. let's read the last one. Let's see. Go ahead. What were you going to say? All right. We have one more paragraph. Shelley is out pumping some gas. So Carol, let's go to Carol. Number 9.
Okay. Excuse me. You have never been given any problem to the Holy Spirit. He has not solved for you, nor will you ever do so. You have never tried to solve anything yourself and been successful. Wine.
Stop. That's so good.
That's my mother's line.
Think about what an affront to the ego that line is. Say it again, Carol.
I say it like my mom would.
You have
never tried to solve anything yourself and been successful.
But your mother is talking from the ego, but this is Jesus talking in the spirit going, you just better let it go, because stop trying to figure it out. This is the whole stop trying to figure it out thing. Keep going. Keep going.
This is not time you brought these facts together and made sense of them. This is the year for the application of the ideas that have been given you. For the ideas are mighty forces to be used and not held idly by what? Oh.
idly by.
Okay.
Read that line again. For the ideas are.
Yeah, I was reading it too fast. Sorry.
Okay, just take a breath.
For the ideas are mighty forces to be used and not held idly by. They have already proved their power sufficiently for you to place their faith in them and not in their denial. This year, invest in truth and let it work in peace. Have faith in Him who has faith in you. Think what you have already seen and heard and recognize it. Can you be alone with the witnesses like these?
Beautiful, right?
Can you be alone?
Absolutely beautiful. Have faith in Him who has faith in
you.
In you. Have faith in love because love has faith in you. This is so important because it comes back to that trust thing. That the opposite of
Doubt.
doubt. Opposite of doubt.
So the other day,
go ahead.
So the other day, I went to my doctor, and anyway, long story short, he said something to me that was like, "You'll never get any better than you are now," and I'm like, "You don't have any faith in me to do that?" You know? And I just said, "Well, I'm just gonna ignore it." You know, he's like, "And here's a pill," you know. So I just threw the script in the garbage and went home.
Aww.
And then yesterday, I saw on Instagram where he had a picture that he was bragging about having done 8 surgeries in the one day. You know, it was a marathon, and it just really, 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 really pissed me off because I was thinking, you know, these surgeries take time, and how could he have, I was judging him totally. How could he have totally done a good job? Somebody's surgery is going to fail because he had to rush through it to make it done in the 8 hours a day, you know? And I'm thinking that, that maybe because of my experience the other day was that I was just like totally lost faith in him at all. You know, I just like, no, I'm not going back, and I don't know how many people are going to fail with their surgery, but But then I have to turn it around and go, oh, he's just a nice guy, you know, and he's pretty
Yeah.
skilled in what he does.
But
And
listen, here's the deal.
I'm just so mad.
This is important. Now, everybody, you can see how Carol is applying the principles to her life. Yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So it's really important, Carol, and everybody here, this is a teachable moment. This is a teachable moment, right? So it is really allowing, Carol, it's allowing you to be completely, it's allowing you to give your allegiance to being a miracle worker rather than being at the effect of the outside world, whether it's Dr. Joe or whatever. Does that make sense, Carol?
Yeah.
Right. Because the only doctor you got, God. Right?
Right.
God's working through everybody and everything at all times, working through us, working through everything. The energy of love, the energy of peace, the energy of healing, the energy of transcendence is working through everybody and everything. Take a deep breath, everybody. So, you can, if, this is very practical. So, Carol, if for some reason, I'm not here to judge your journey, right, Carol? So if for some reason this doesn't feel right to you, you go right to God and say, God, you show me the way. This doesn't feel right for some reason. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but you show me the way. And then you sit and you wait for what will happen. Does it make sense,
Well, I
Carol?
just pray that every one of those people that had surgery the other day have a successful one. But I just think that was pushing it a little bit to do 8 in one day. You know, regardless of how easy they may have been.
I get that. I totally get that. But just be willing to be like, just allow yourself to say, I'm judging this situation of how he did this thing. But God's got a bigger plan going on that I don't understand. Right, Carol? So allow yourself, is somebody moving a lot of papers around or something? Because it's a lot of, okay, sorry, it just was like, okay. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up there. So Carol, all of us, and everyone say us if you agree, we're all holding the vision that the perfect, amazing, incredible manifestation of love happens in your life and in your health. Say yes if you agree with me, everybody.
Yes.
Yes. For sure. I'm aware of time. We've gone far over. Okay, sorry. But good job, everybody. Really good stuff.
Did you just, which paragraph did you just complete? I got cut off.
Oh, we're done. That was number 9.
Oh.
We're all done. So we're all done. Sorry about that, Callie. So we're all done. We just read number 10. And number 10 is really amazing. Number 8, have faith in him who has faith in you. Which kind of sums up a lot of what we've talked about. Stop trying to organize. Stop trying to organize. To organize or figure out or whatever. Just know that there's something happening on a bigger level that you and I are in connection with, but of our mind right now, we don't understand it. That's okay. That opens your vibration up to transcendence and healing. All right, let's just, I would like you to choose one line or one phrase out of what we read that stood out for you today. And it could be something else, but just share one thing that stands out for you. And I'm going to say, for me, actually so much of this, it's all highlighted, but I love number 9, the first line of number 9. You have never given any problem to the Holy Spirit he has not solved for you, nor will you ever do so. So it's beautiful, and it reminds me, just keep giving it over to the Holy Spirit. Just keep giving it over. Give it over. Give it. That's me. Okay, let me just go through. Carrie, what stands out for you?
Well, I was doing the first line in paragraph 9 also. You have never given any problem to the Holy Spirit. He has not solved for you, nor will you ever do so.
Yeah.
You're
Really
just never
comforting.
alone.
You're never alone, and it's already solved. Beautiful. Thank you, Carrie. Jennifer, what about you?
Mine is paragraph 5, number 3. Honor the truth that has been given you, and be glad that you do not understand it, because I do have a tendency overthinking it.
Yeah.
So it's like ignorance is bliss. So I will stop thinking and just let things happen.
Very good. I love it. It's like in my law of attraction class, I go, one of the best ways is just let law of attraction figure it out. Just let God figure it out, whatever. Good. Thank you so much, Jen. Cynthia.
Paragraph 9, sentence 7. This year, invest in truth and let it work in peace. That's a relief. And just, yeah.
Let it work in peace.
Exactly.
Not you organizing it and making it happen.
Yeah.
See you, Cynthia. Christine, what about you?
Number 8, 3. Awake and share it, for that is the only reason he has called to you. Because we're always trying to figure out our purpose and why am I here and what am I supposed to be doing? And that just simplifies it. We're here to share it.
That's it. And it can be in a million different forms, right, Christine?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to be prophesizing at a church. You can do that in a moment with someone that's giving you $100 for a room. Right, Christine?
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm so glad everything is working out for you. Kelly, what are you taking away? Are you there, Kelly?
Oh, me, Callie. Okay. Paragraph 7, number 1. This is a year of joy in which your listening will increase and peace will grow with its increase. It gives me that how that fits in for every moment and every day of that being that possibility.
Yeah. It's all in the now, right? Beautiful. And just one little note here, everyone, is that as he starts talking about, when you look at the whole chronology of what we've read, what the section before this is all about Christmas and the New Year. So now you're like into the New Year. That's why he keeps going, this year, but it doesn't matter. It could be this day. It could be this moment. It doesn't matter. Thank you, Kelly. That's beautiful. Alex, what about you?
Same thing as the paragraph 9, the first sentence. And I think what's kind of really nice about, Max, that you had us read this one is that this implies that whoever is reading is along the path. That it's not, you're beyond just skepticism at this point. That it's untrue.
Thank you for noticing that. That's really great. Yeah, because the text does work chronologically, right? So it's like, well, you've gone through all this, but and of course there's no time, so all of you are already here, so it doesn't even matter. Beautiful, Alex. Good to hear your voice. Sarah, what about you?
Paragraph 8, line 8, for love asks only that you be happy and will give you everything that makes for happiness. I love that.
I love that too.
Pretty much says it all.
So simple, right, Sarah?
Yes. Yep.
Good. Thank you, Sarah. Shelley, you there?
Yeah. Yeah, I starred the same one as Sarah also, but then in paragraph 4, number 3, when two minds join as one and share one idea equally, the first link in the awareness of the sonship as one has been made. Because I always said, this one struck me because I always say, like, like if I say something and then somebody doubts it and I'm like, okay, so if you believe what I'm saying, if two people believe in one thing, miracles happen, right? I've just always thought that, kind of like two alcoholics get together and they could stay sober. Anyway, so that when two minds get together as one and share that idea, you know, that I don't know. It's that sense though, that's what that means.
There's
That's what
another
that means to me.
there's another part of the course that's very much like the Bible, and it says wherever two minds are joined, I am there.
Yeah.
Right? So
Well, I know I didn't come up with it.
yeah. Right. Thank you, Shelley. Very good. Last but not least is Carol. What stands out for you, Carol?
Well, the sentence that you have never tried to solve anything yourself and been successful. That just kind of hit me really funny, you know, as, you know, saying that it was my mom, because it is kind of true, because she's like, if you would have just asked for help, I would have helped you, you know. And so also just by bringing up what I was about my doctor, that helped me to not judge him so much anymore, you know.
Good.
That well, you know, he wouldn't be doing that many surgeries if the hospital didn't think he could schedule them, you know, and get them done. And
beautiful.
With his skills, you know.
That's a beautiful reframe. Beautiful reframe.
Yeah, and so I just have to accept the way it is, and it still just floods me with, like, I don't know, being upset, because I just don't want to have anybody else end up in the condition that I ended up in, you know.
Let me just, I'm really, so.
And I don't know how to get out of that, so.
Carol, this is where, and everybody here, this is where you just got to look in really deep inside. You have to shut the fuck up, as I always say. You shut the fuck up about your judgments, about what he should be, what he shouldn't be, how I'm angry, and how it's going to affect everyone. All that stuff, Carol, you have to do your work to put that aside.
Yeah.
And then go, okay, now from that place, dear God, you show me what to do. Because at that point, you might be guided to be like, you know what? You've learned enough from him, and you need to move on and attract somebody else. Or I don't know what the answer. There's no one answer, first of all. But this is the kind of situation where you're being asked to put all that aside as much as you can. You see how you might be judging him or judging yourself or whatever. You put all that aside, and then you go, okay, maybe I don't have to do anything right now, or maybe I do, but I'm not sure right now. Right, Carol?
Right, and it's not my problem to solve anyway.
Well, it might not be your problem to solve, but you do have co-creative energy with God to be like, oh, do you want to go this way now, or do you want to go this way? And I want to leave it at that. Okay? All right. All right, everyone take a big deep breath.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry to be short. We're at an hour and 45 minutes. This is the longest that we've done a class in a long time. But it's been good. Say yes if you feel like it's been good.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 I wanted to finish this. So. Okay, let's close our eyes. Let's connect back with our holiness, which is the part of ourselves that's completely whole and perfect. It's already there. Put your hand on your heart. Feel that whole, perfect, incredible energy flowing through you, in you, as you. And we ask that as we walk through this week, that we are more guided by that part of us that is the Godhead, that is enlightened, that is already perfect, because that's the truth of who we are. So we ask that as we move into this week, we're more aligned with that Godhead, with that part of ourselves that's already there. instead of trying to understand or control or strategize anything. And in short, this week, we commit to go with the flow of God. Take a big deep breath. And together we say thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you, Max.
You're welcome. I had an aha there for a second. I was just say, go with the flow sometimes is very, very misleading because you go with the flow of the ego. Go with the flow of God. I love you so much. Do something for somebody you disagree with, and you will understand. Shelly, go ahead, quick.
Your ego is not your amigo.
Yeah, nice. Post that one in the group.
So much. He's part of my
That's a
3
tattoo.
amigos that are trying to run my life.
Yeah. Leave him on the curb. Take him out of your car.
Love it. Thank you, Kelly. Shelly. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you. I'll see you
Love
next
everybody.